Okay, and this scene continues to build, and the tension very much increases at this moment. And you can see, based on what I was talking about previously, that the conflict between the characters is building and accumulating to a high point. And as I was saying at the very beginning of this presentation, these people were living in a time when they felt very insecure, very vulnerable, and they were isolated. So it's no surprise here that issues of security and respect and oppression and autonomy and freedom are being really heightened and emphasized for us. They are coming up to the surface. So Paris here is seeking to receive this sense of affirmation and appreciation by the people in the town, and he sees that he feels appreciated when he has material possessions. And so this whole conflict about the wood and his salary is for Paris more about how he is seen to be appreciated by his and respected, and they are very important for him. He wants a sense of security. He wants to be able to own his house, and this is a time when people are not secure. So we are given more information about Paris and his history. So we find out that he's a graduate of Harvard College. So he wants that validation. It's a little snobbish because he's in a place where he's talking mainly to farmers. So he thinks by the fact that he has the highest form of education, he should be seen as someone in a position of authority and respect. He shouldn't be questioned. Everyone should just do what he says. We also find out that he sees his life as a life of poverty, which is interesting for a minister to feel that way. I am not used to this poverty. I left a thrifty business in the Barbados to serve the Lord. I do not fathom it. Why am I persecuted here? I cannot offer one proposition, but there be howling riot of argument. I have often wondered if the devil be in it somewhere. I cannot understand you people otherwise. Notice how he often uses you people when he's talking to them, and through that use of that personal pronoun, second person, you, we see that he's deliberately separating himself from the others. He is different from everyone else. He is not from here. He is not one of them. You have this problem and you need to deal with it. And so we are starting to learn a little bit more about Paris here, and it's not looking good, is it? He's not winning any favors. He seems to just be a very insecure person here, and he seems to need to have that sense of total power and control. And if people question him, he sees that as people, it's a bad thing to question him. And he's not feeling that sense of affirmation and validation from the community. And he points a finger and he says, it's their fault. I am your third preacher in 7 years. I do not wish to be out like the cat whenever the some majority feels the whim. You people seem not to comprehend that a minister is the Lord's man in the parish. A minister is not to be so lightly crossed and contradicted. Okay, I am in a very important position. So he's really trying to make his position more secure in this community. And he's seeking that people are to be obedient. And if you're not obedient to the church, which means, if you don't listen to what I say, you're not listening to God. And so therefore you are going to burn like hell is burning. Everything's going to fall apart if you don't obey and do what I say. And interesting at this point, we really seem to get to the heart of the matter here. It is not for you to say what is good for you to hear. I may speak my heart, I think. And so this is a real problem. Paris wants respect for his office. He feels he's earned it. He wants people to treat him differently and to treat him well, and he's not getting that. And Proctor is not one who will suffer this kind of behaviour and this arrogance and his hypocrisy. So he will not hold his tongue. And it's interesting to see that often with people in these positions of authority or in these people in communities, they often refer to the devil as a way to control people. So Arthur Miller saw this view that the devil was used as a means by which to threaten those in society who refused to surrender to the willpower of those in society and live like the rest of society. So that we see this idea of religion is being used to make people abide by the law, and that is very problematic when you have religion and the law together. It causes these problems. So it seems as though Arthur Miller is ridiculing the fact that when he was writing this play in the 50s, that society viewed communism as a trait of the devil. This is further emphasised by the role of religion, which runs throughout all of the acts, as all of the characters who put importance on conforming to social rules, including Paris and the Putnams, are constantly reinforcing the importance of the church and religious ideals. Okay, so, and I think that people will use that also to, with the accusations later on, when the trials begin, issues such as Proctor not having gone to church every Sabbath day makes others believe that he may be under the control of the devil. So there's often a problem with, you have to look like you're doing the right things and behaving the right way and saying the right things, and if you don't do those, then you obviously impact with the devil. So people using religion to control and make people abide by the expectations of the community. And it's interesting because when Proctor says, I may speak my heart, I think, I should be able to say what I think, and Paris says, what are we Quakers? And here, just to give you an idea, Quakers, I've got a bit of information that I've put here. So Quakers believed that God could inspire ordinary people to communicate his message to others. So it's interesting because the Puritans really disapproved strongly of Quakers. So they didn't believe this. The Puritans didn't believe that anyone could communicate God's message. So Proctor thinks that he has a right to say what he believes, but Paris sees it as a deliberate threat to his authority, because it's the people in the positions of authority in the church. They have been given the job of communicating God's message, not just the common people. So that just gives you a little bit more insight into that comment by Paris. And interestingly, Paris accuses Proctor of having followers, and so again we hear about his enemies and these factions that are occurring. And the problem is that Proctor is so open in his dissent and his criticism. He doesn't try to say the correct thing and behave in the correct way. That again, we're seeing that we're getting that sense that he is going to these words are going to bite him in the butt later on. It's not going to go well for him. But we are also getting a sense that Proctor and Paris are two opposing characters, and Proctor is quite witty in the way that he retorts in a lot of these conversations. So we can see here that there are characters in this play who don't like Paris, who don't respect him, and I wonder whether having these accusations of witchcraft and having Betty here, that Paris will use that as a way to reinforce his importance and authority in the town. Giles indicates to us the type of people that are in this community when he says that it suggests to the mind what the trouble be among us all these years. Think on it, wherefore, why is everybody suing everybody else? Think on it now. It's a deep thing and dark as pit. I have been 6 times in court this year. So interestingly, we're seeing that in this community, people are accused of defamation, saying bad things about each other, and people are being sued all the time. And so we see this town, it's constantly a place of conflict, which is exactly the sort of, exactly the opposite of what we'd expect in a town that is built on religious faith and principles. And then again, we get another dispute occurring when we have this dispute about lumber, which then turns into a dispute about land. And really, we're sort of, as an audience, we're sort of getting a bit sick now of hearing about all of these disputes and these conflicts that these people, these supposedly Christian people, don't get along. And the intensity and the fights seem to be building up until this point where the Reverend Hale walks in, and you wonder what Hale is thinking as he walks into these arguments. This bickering, the backstabbing, the land grabbing, this being in this place where people are isolated and vulnerable and insecure really brings out the worst in people. And that's what we're seeing here. This is a town that is festering in open and festering sores of just real bitterness and selfishness and greed. And it's ripe for witchcraft accusations.